kids, this is Princess Rita and The Taste from Kids Reading Corner 207, and today we're going to read Journey to Justice. This story is written by Schmidt, illustrated by Eduardo Mello, and it is in the 5-Minute Marvel Stories book. Now we're going to start.
As war broke out across the world in 1940s, ruthless forces such as Hydra directed the villainous Red Skull, Arnim Zola, and Baron Zemo tore through Europe. The world was in need of a hero, someone to stand up and fight for all people, and no one would have ever guessed who the hero would be.
In Borough of Brooklyn, in the great city of New York, Steve Rogers sat, dismayed by the newsreels he watched in his local theater. Every week, the news gets worse, Steve said to himself. I can't let my friends fight these battles alone. He had to stop the growling tide of evil. Though he was small and suffered from asthma, Steve Rogers desperately wanted to help fight for what was right. Sorry, kid, the recruitment officer said. There's nothing I can do. Next, the army saw only Steve's side and illness. But that wouldn't stop Steve Rogers.
On his 17th attempt to enlist in the army, Stephen was admitted. He was greeted by Dr. Erskine, who said, "Welcome to Project Rebirth." Dr. Erskine had one goal: to create a super soldier. A super soldier, Steve said hesitatingly. He looked around at all the other soldiers and wondered how he could possibly compete with them.
When all the soldiers were sent on long runs, Steve was always in last place. They did weight training, and Steve could barely lift the lightest dumbbells. When the time came to choose the first candidate to undergo the super soldier protocols, it was Steve Roger who was chosen by Dr. Erskine. You never give up, Steve. You believe deeply in fighting for freedom and protecting those who can't protect themselves, said Erskine. That's why I've chosen you. Steve stared at the super soldier serum he was supposed to drink. Don't worry, Steve, Dr. Erskine said. After your transformation, you'll know it was worth it. Steve drank the secret formula and was bombarded with Vita rays. Within seconds, the transformation was complete. And where a 98-pound weakling once stood, now towering the world's first super soldier, Captain America was born. Steve wasted no time getting straight to work, fighting for freedom across the globe. He helped to turn the tide of war and beat back the evil forces running wild. You soldiers have braved in front lines, Captain America told the troops. Today I fight with you, and we will honor our country and our cause for freedom.
Captain America was joined by Bucky Barnes, his trusty sidekick. Bucky was the bouncy, happy-go-lucky one of the two, but that didn't mean they weren't the two bravest soldiers in the world. Together they would fight villains like the Red Skull and Arnim Zola and take them down.
By the end of the war, only Baron Zemo remained to be captured. Captain America and Bucky charged into Zemo's family castle. "Watch out for booby traps," Bucky Cap shouted. And the duo dodged every one of them. But Zemo would not be stopped so easily. "Captain, you have fooled all my plans except one," Baron Zemo taunted.
Even as Captain America tied Baron Zemo up, Zemo set his final attack into motion. "My rocket is loaded and aimed at New York, and you can't stop it." Zemo's rocket took off. The rumble was defeating. "Oh no," Steve said. "It aimed at my home."
Thinking fast, Steve jumped onto the rocket, taking him far into the sky and way out to the sea. He broke into the rocket's guidance system, causing it to fall harmlessly to the freezing ocean below.
But the victory came at a price. Steve had fallen into the cold waters as well, and there in the icy depths Steve would remain until he was found many years later by the Avengers.
Now Captain America goes on countless adventures as leader of the Avengers. But one thing has not changed. Behind Captain America's shield, Steve Rogers is still just a kid from Brooklyn who always does the right thing. The end. Thanks for listening and read lots.